the street begins. And there the grass grows soft and white, and there the sun burns crimson bright, and there the moonbirds rest from his flight, cool in the peppermint wind. Let us leave this place where the smoke glows black and the dark street winds and bends. Past the pits where the asphalt flowers grow, we shall walk with a walk that is measured and slow. And watch where the chalk white arrows go to the place where the sidewalk ends. Yes, we'll walk with a walk that is measured and slow, and we'll go where the chalk white arrows go, for the children they mark, and the children they know, the place where the sidewalk ends.
The voice. There is a voice inside of you that whispers all day long. I feel that this is right for me. I know that this is wrong. No teacher, preacher, parent, friend, or wise man can decide what's right for you. Just listen to the voice that speaks inside. Invitation. If you're a dreamer, come in. If you're a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer. If you're a pretender, come sit by my fire, for we have some flax golden tails to spin. Come in, come in. Warning. Inside everybody's nose, there lives a sharp-toothed snail. So if you stick your finger in, he might bite off your nail. Stick it farther up, and he may bite your ring off. Stick it all the way, and he may bite the whole darn thing off. Love. Ricky was out, but he's home like the flu. Lizzie, our O, had some homework to do. Mitchell E probably got lost on the way, so I'm off of love that can make it today. Magic. Sandra seen a leprechaun, Eddie touched a troll. Lori danced with witches once, and Charlie found some goblins' gold. Donald heard a mermaid sing, and Susie spied an elf. But all the magic I've known, I had made myself.
I'll tell you the story of Jimmy Jet, and you know what I tell you is true. He loved to watch his TV set almost as much as you. He watched all day, he watched all night, till he grew pale and lean.
From the early show to the late show.
And all the shows between. He watched till his eyes were frozen wide, and his bottom grew into his chair. And his chin turned into a tuning dial, and antennas grew from his hair. And his brain turned into TV tubes, and his face to a TV screen.
Knobs saying Bert and Horace
Grew where his ears had been. And he grew a plug that looked like a tail, so we plugged in little Jim. And now, instead of him watching TV,
we all sit around and watch him. Hot dog. I have a hot dog for a pet. The only kind my folks let me get. He does smell sort of bad, and yet he absolutely never gets the sofa wet. We have a butcher for a vet, strangest vet you've ever met. Guess we're the weirdest family yet to have a hot dog for a pet. Picture puzzle piece. One picture puzzle piece lying on the sidewalk. One picture puzzle piece soaking in the rain. Ooh, ooh, it might be a bucket of glue of a coat of a woman who lived in a shoe. Ooh, ooh, it might be a magic bean like on the red velvet robe for Queen. It might be the one little bite of the apple her stepmother gave to Snow White. It might be a bit of a bride, because she follows some evil genie inside. It might be the smoke of the hair on the big bouncy belly of Golden Bear. Ooh, ooh, it might be a bit of cloak of the wicked witch of the west as she mounted smoke. Ooh, ooh, it might be a shadowy trace of a The little boy and the old man. Said the little boy, sometimes I drop my spoon.
Said the little old man, I do that too.
Said the little boy whispered, I wet my pants.
I do that too, laughed the little old man.
Said the little boy, I often cry.
The old man nodded, so do I.
But worst of all, said the boy, it seems worms don't pay attention to me. And he felt the warmth of an old wrinkly old hand.
I know what you mean, said the little old man.
Put something in. Draw a crazy picture, write a nutty poem. Sing a mumble gumble song, whistle through your comb. Do a loony goony dance, cross the kitchen floor. Put something silly in the world that ain't been there before.
Rock and roll band! If we ran a rock and roll band, we'd travel all over the land. We'd play, we'd sing our spangly thing. If we were in a rock and roll band! If we were in a rock and roll band, we'll be up there on stand. The people would hear us and love us and cheer us. Hooray for that rock and roll band!
If we were in a rock and roll band, we'd have 8 million fans.
We'd giggle and laugh and sign autographs. If we were in a rock and roll band! If we were in a rock and roll band, the people would all kiss our hands. We'd be millionaires and have extra long hair. If we were in a rock and roll band. But we ain't no rock and roll band. We have 8 carrots in the sand. Horns, toes, tails, jars, and drums up a potato chip can. Just 8 kids in the sand, talking and waving our hands, and dreaming and thinking, oh, would it be grand if we were in a rock and roll band? Yeah! Somebody has to go pause the stars. They're looking a little bit dull. Somebody has to go pause the stars. For the eagles and the gulls and the starlings have all been complaining they're tarnished and worn. They say they want new ones we cannot afford. So please get your rags and your polishing jars. Somebody has to go pause the stars. Invention. I've done it! Guess what I've done? Invented a light that plugs into the sun. The sun is bright enough. The ball is strong enough to fit. Oh, there's only one thing wrong. The cord ain't long enough.
Hector the collector.
Hector the collector collected bits of string, collected dolls with broken heads, and rusty bells that would not ring. Pieces out of picture puzzles, bent of nails and ice cream sticks, twists of wire, worn out tires, paper bags, and broken bricks.
Old chip faces have shoelaces, Gatling guns that wouldn't shoot, leaky boats that wouldn't float, and stopped up horns that wouldn't toot.
Butter knives that had no handle, copper keys that fit no locks, rings that were too small for fingers, dried up leaves and packed up socks, worn out belts that had no buckle, electric trains that had no tracks, airplane models, broken bottles, 3-legged chairs, and cups with cracks.
Hector the collector loved these things with all his soul. Loved them more than shining diamonds. Loved them more than glistening gold. Hector called to all the people,
Come and share my treasure trunk.
And all the silly, sightless people came and looked and called it junk. Edge of the world. Columbus said the world is round. Don't believe a word of that. For I've been down on the edge of the world. Sat down where the wild winds whirl. Peeked over the ledge where the blue snow curls. And I can tell you this, boys and girls, that the world is flat. Band-Aids. I have a Band-Aid on my finger, one on my knee, and one on my nose. One on my heel, and 2 on my shoulder, and 3 on my elbow, and 9 on my toes. 2 on my wrist, and 1 on my ankle.
serve myself up at 1:45. So bring out your stew bowls, gobblers and snackers, and farewell, and I hope you enjoy me with crackers.
Would you like to hear of the town? I have really thought that. No? All right. Sarah Cynthia Silverstein would not take the garbage out.
Sarah Cynthia Silverstein would not take the garbage out.
She'd start the pot and scrape the pans, get the ends, and spice the hams. And though her daddy would scream and shout, she simply would not take the garbage.
And so it's piled up to the ceilings, coffee grounds, potato peelings.
Brown bananas, rotten peas, chunks of sour cottage cheese.
It filled the can, it covered the floor, it cracked the window, blocked the door.
With bacon rinds and chicken bones, drippy ends of ice cream cones.
Fruit pits, peach pits, orange peels, lumpy brooks of cold oatmeal.
Pizza crust and withered greens, soggy beans and tangerines. Some black burnt buttered toast, wish that something came out.
The garbage rolled on down the hall. It raised the roof. It broke the wall.
Greasy napkins, cookie crumbs, globs of gooey bubble gum.
Cellophane from green bologna, rubbery, blubbery macaroni.
Peanut butter caked and dry. Curdled milk and crust of pie.
Holy melons, dried up mustard, eggshells mixed with lemon custard.
Cool French fries and bacon meat. Yellow lumps of cream of wheat.
At last the garbage reached so high that finally it touched the sky.
And all the neighbors moved away and none of her friends
Come to play.
And finally, Sarah Cynthia Stout said,
Okay, I'll take the garbage out.
but then of course it was too late. The garbage reached across the state, from New York to the Golden Gate, and there in the garbage she did hate. Poor Sarah met an awful fate, which I cannot right now relate, because the hour is much too late. But children, remember, Sarah Stout.
And always take the garbage out.